Hi, Nick Namalita. This is my channel, The Midnight Librarian, and today we're going to be talking knitting. So before I get into the obvious, let me just apologize for my voice right now. I am getting over, not a cold, I think that's kind of undermining what I just went through. I'm getting over bronchitis. I was sick last week with something that the husband brought home, though he claims he didn't bring it home, but he was sick first. So, and it was a pretty gnarly sickness. It's been a while since I've been that sick. And then as soon as I thought I was over that, I noticed that my voice was like this and that I kept coughing. Like there were several nights straight where I could not fall asleep because I was just coughing consistently. And so finally went to the doctor and I have bronchitis. So I'm on some medication to try to like beat this, but like today I actually feel human and like dressed up for the first time, and yes, my voice is like this, and yes, I still have coughing fits, but I feel human and I want to talk. So this is what we're doing. So my apologies. But I'm gonna go ahead and like just kind of go into this episode. So I guess this would be episode 2 of my knitting podcast, and I'm just gonna go a usual format that I've seen for these. And so the first one is gonna go into my finished pieces. And so if you can't tell, I finished the king salmon sweater. Oh my goodness. So I'll have photos. I finished this towards the end of February and I love it. I love it so much. I'm super proud with how this turned out. Let's see, I'm trying to calm myself down and just kind of go into, so this is the King Salmon Sweater by Caitlin Hunter. It's worked in worsted weight yarn, and in my case I did Malabrigo Rios in pine as the main color and natural as the contrasting color. I thought I might have some because they have like codes in front of them, but let's see, this is worked on US 5 3.75 millimeter gauge needles for like the most part, and then like you can upsize for like the ribbing or the color work depending on how your tension is at US 7 4.5. I will say that I did switch up to 4.5 for the ribbing, and then switch to a 3.75 millimeter needle size, and then switch back to the 4.5 millimeter during the color work, and then completely forgot that I did that. So after the color work, like the rest of it's just knit in 4.5. Yeah, this is top-down construction. This is my first color work, my first sweater, and I cannot be happier, y'all. This is so, I'm so excited. I could be a little happier. There's something going on with the neck, and that's one thing that I've heard critique about this particular sweater, is that there's something wonky with the neck, and I'm not even sure what. I thought I fixed it. I did alter my neck because I did size up 2 sizes because I am a busty gal, and because this was my first sweater and I don't trust any clothing companies whatsoever, I have trust issues because women's clothing sucks in the US. But particularly when it came to patterns, this was like a little daunting for me, and I just wanted to make sure that it was fitting my bust, and I wanted it a little baggy. So I sized up once ahead of time, the first time, and knit the neckline as instructed. However, I ended up messing up and having to completely frog it, but before I frogged it, I went ahead and just tried it over my head, and it couldn't fit past my nose, and so that freaked me out, and so I upped the size again, and I did not construct the neckline as instructed because I also don't like anything super close to my neck. It freaks me out. It makes me feel like I'm being strangled. So I ended up, I don't remember how much I cast on, but it was somewhere between the recommended cast on amount and however much I'm supposed to have increased by the time we get to the yoke. Is that what I want to say? Past the ribbing. Because you do increase, and I chose like kind of just an arbitrary number between the two, knowing that I wanted like a wider neck. And so that was perfect. I love where it sits. However, as I'm wearing it throughout the day, I've noticed that it goes up and like I have to constantly bring it back down. But other than that, I'm like completely and utterly happy. That is not the only, I'm actually really surprised with how many things I ended up just kind of altering, which like is funny because I did read a book recently, a knitting book recently, that like did like highly encourage it, of just like the patterns are just guidelines, which I love. But for my first color work and my first sweater, I'm just really shocked with how much I decided to alter. So first off was the neck. Second off was the seaweed motif between the king salmon. I did not like whatever, like when I originally saw it, I'm just like, I don't like it. I don't like what that is. It looked like a dead tree. It's seaweed. I didn't like it, so I changed it to this little triangle on top of a bigger triangle with a stripe going through it. I call it a native design. It's probably not. I don't know. I just like it better. So that's what I decided to do. It was really easy just to kind of like go into, I think I went into Illustrator and just with the chart and just kind of altered it to get rid of the seaweed pattern and put in this triangle motif. And then I repeated that same triangle motif down at the bottom, just before the bottom hem ribbing. So that was really fun just to kind of bring it all together. My original thought was to do that with the sleeves as well, but I kind of went off the rails with the sleeves, which I'll talk about in here in a minute. Yeah, that was like the color work that I really wanted to adjust, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. I did go a bit longer in the tummy just because I am I'm a bigger gal and I wanted it to fit over my tummy and I wanted it to fit over my butt. I do not like crop tops. I'm not a fan. So I wanted it baggy, I wanted it cozy, and so yeah, that's where it hits on me, is just below the tummy, right like mid butt, and I'm perfectly happy with that. The sleeves, like I said, I went completely off the rails with those because looking at a lot of the finished projects, they are really thin, not thin, they're not baggy, they're not, they're kind of tight on what it looks tight on the on a lot of the people with their finished projects. And yes, that could work. However, when I first started this, I'm like, that sounds uncomfortable. I want to be able to like roll my sleeves up because I get kind of warm, and that was my fear with a sweater, and that is my constant fear with sweaters of any caliber, whether it's something handmade or if it's like a hoodie, is that I don't like pullovers because I get overheated, and so I need to be able to roll it up. I'm sure it could have worked with this, knowing now how Malabrigo Rios kind of functions. However, I am glad. So like I went with the instruction when it came to splitting for the sleeves and starting the sleeves, and then when it came to decreases, I completely like threw the instructions out the window. I decreased like every 8 for like 5 times, and then just kind of stopped until about I also made the sleeves a little longer until about like just where I wanted the cuff to be. And then like I didn't quite do a bubble sleeve, obviously, but I wanted something, I didn't want it as drastic as that, but I did like a half bubble sleeve. So yeah, I don't know, it worked. It did take me a little bit because I did finish my right sleeve first and it hit just before my wrist, and I'm like, ugh, like, do I trust this? Do I trust that blocking it will get it the length I want? And then I went ahead and finished it, and I went and did the left sleeve but made it a little longer just to see. I just wanted to see. But as soon as I made the left sleeve longer and liked where it hit, I'm just like, yep, nope, that's where I want it. So I had to retake out, I had to take out the right sleeve and make it just a tad longer. So I did end up, I'd have like a bunch of scribbles on my printed pattern because I was like writing down what I was doing so that I could repeat it. But it's fantastic. I did take several, okay, so like I've done Malabrigo Rios before, but it was always with baby blankets, and I was always like really shocked with like, oh my god, this turned this glorified washcloth into like a tea towel, so that's nice for a baby blanket. But I wasn't sure how it was gonna work with a sweater when it came to blocking. So I did, and that was one of my fears, is because I wasn't sure if the teal of the pines would like bleed into the natural. That was like a big fear, and it's something that I didn't want to think about because I did swatch this ahead of time, but I only swatched it with the pine of the main color. I did not do it with the contrast color until I was done with the sweater. Essentially, I like finished the sweater, I wove in my ends, and then I was like, fine, now I'll do a swatch. So I did a swatch of the pines ahead of time to make sure I met gauge, and I did not know you're supposed to do that with the contrast color as well if it's a color work pattern, to ensure that your tension is still correct and that you still meet gauge, as well as to test to see if the dye will run. So I did that after, like I said, after my sweater was done. And knitting this motif flat sucks. I did not like that, but I did like just a little fish head and ended up blocked it. It did not run, and so I was like, okay, we're just gonna go ahead and do it then. And so I like drenched this, and it did run a little bit, like when it was in wet. But it could have just been that it was wet. It took like 3 days to dry, and during that time I'm like, yeah, this got long. And my coworker, who also made a sweater out of Malabrigo Rios, but not the same sweater, she did something slightly different. Not slightly different, she did like something, she didn't do color work. She did something that had this fun stitch coming down the is this the yoke? What is this bit? She had a fun stitch doing that, and she said she had like a crisis because she ended up blocking her sweater and it completely got rid of that stitch. Like she could not see it anymore, and she was just like, are you freaking kidding me? And it's because she looked it up, Malabrigo Rios, there's something that they do to it where like it's like it definitely blocks out and like gives you it, like most things when you block it gives you like a ½ inch, and it makes it ½ inch longer or something like that. But Malabrigo Rios, from the Reddit page she found, like gives you 3 inches. And so there was people on there saying like put it in the dryer for 15 seconds at a time or something like that, or 3 minutes, something like that. And basically she was able to like shrink it down to how she wanted it again. So that was great. But with mine, I just liked the way it blocked. I just kind of let it do its thing and wore it for the first time at work. Then after 3 days, it was still a little damp, but I think it was ultimately fine. I thought it fit perfectly. I'm super comfortable, aside from the little neck thing. And everyone freaking loved it. So it's one of those things that like I wore it to work and I'm just like, I know someone's gonna say something, like that's kind of what I'm looking for because I'm proud of this, like I made it. But I'm like, I swear to God though, if no one says anything, I'm gonna be pissed. But so many people said so many good things, and I felt so proud of myself, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, now this is embarrassing. Because like right off the bat, because I work in a library, if you didn't know, but right off the bat, and I opened the library, when I opened, we had this regular patron. I mean, most of our patrons are regulars because they're students, because it's a library at a university. But one of our regulars in the morning came in and got her usual stuff. But she was just like, oh my God, I love your sweater. I'm like, thank you. And like, I wasn't even gonna say anything. But then like after a little bit, she's like, I can't get over the fish. The fish looks so good. I'm like, thank you. I just finished it over the weekend. And she's like, are you freaking kidding me? You made it? I'm like, yeah, it was my first color work and first sweater. And she was just like, oh my God, like, let's not go with something easy. Let's go ahead and just go boss mode. Like, way to go. I'm like, oh my God, okay. And like, of course, because she said that out loud, like several of my student assistants were like, oh my God, you made it. And so throughout the rest of the day, they were just like, Melita made that to anyone who would listen. And it was great. They were definitely my cheerleaders and I absolutely loved it. Yeah, it was super cute. I loved it. Though it did get kind of weird because I work in a shared workspace and like people who knew I've been working on this for several months came through and they were like, oh my God, you finished it. Oh my God. And like, were talking to me about it. And so my coworkers had to kind of hear it all day. And so that's when I became embarrassed. And at one point, one of my coworkers like asked like, does that embarrass you? Is this too much attention? I'm like, okay, to a degree I did want attention. But yeah, it's getting to the point where I'm like, this is too much attention. But then I went to class because I'm also getting my master's degree. And we have a colloquium. So it's like my cohort meeting up for an hour every week. And I totally spaced. I truly did not remember that our meetup for that week also involved the university photographer because they wanted, the program wanted photos for the website. And so she was there and I'm like, oh my goodness. So, and I've known her for years. Like my mom worked on campus while I was growing up. And so I've always known the campus photographer just cause she knew my mom. And so it was hilarious because our class is on top of this freaking hill, and asked her if she needed help. And she's like, no, I'm okay. And she goes about setting up and and she's like, oh, are you taking this class? I'm like, I am. And she's like, oh, okay, so we'll get some pictures of you today. I'm like, okay. And we end up going outside for the photo or for part of the class. And as I'm like coming out of the woods, of course, like most of the students know I've been working on this for several months. A couple of them had taken a class with me last semester and knew I was working on this for several months. And so they were just like, oh my God, it's done. Look how great you look. As I was coming out of the woods, and the photographer was just like, oh my God, that sweater is really just amazing. I'm like, thank you. Like, I did just finish it, just to give her context. And she's just like, oh my God, no, you need to go back in there and like come this way and like start taking more photos. So I think that a lot of where these photos are coming from, I think are from there. So it was great. It was fantastic. So, okay, that's enough of that. I'll gush about this. I really loved it. Next we'll go into my works in progress. I have one work in progress, or a whip, if you will. And since basically I've been sick, this is what I've been working on. I don't tend to do more than one project at a time, though I do think that's going to change here shortly, mostly because with some of the acquisitions that I have, I do want to start a crochet project, but I also have something in mind for it's not a knitting or crochet project, but it is still a fiber arts of sorts project. So I may end up working on both of those at the same time. But for now, I have one work in progress, and it's the Sitka Spruce Cowl by Jamie Lomax. This is like an infinity scarf, hopefully. So yeah, I'm loving how it's turned out. It's basically just like a tube that I'm knitting in the round. I'm on the second motif of the pines and pine needles. But this one so far has been really fun. It's kind of just like what I needed, particularly after this project, because this was so huge. Like it is a DK weight, so it's, don't know if that's bigger or smaller than worsted. It is like a one smaller than worsted. So like, while DK is 8 ply, and considered a 3 light, by yarn standards, worsted is a 10 ply and it's considered a 4 or medium. So it's just like one below that. And so that was one thing I was kind of nervous about, just because this knitted up actually fairly quickly, and it was like nice with how big the yarn is. But being that this is basically just this the whole way, like it's been really nice and not as complex, but it's been still keeping my attention. So this is, like I said, worked in DK. It's a like infinity scarf of sorts, but it's a cowl worked on US 5 3.75 millimeter needles. And I have this in Bad Sheep Yarn Marley is the main color. So it's like this, it's almost grayish, almost khaki-ish. It's kind of, I actually have another one here. It's, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It's more natural to me than like this white that I used as a contrast color in my King Salmon. Because there is like some variegation in it, which I kind of love actually. When I first got it, I was a little nervous that it was going to be too dark to show the pattern, but actually this is, especially in this light, this is amazing. And I kind of like just went with it thinking, oh, well, if it can look like it's damp or something, because it's supposed to be kind of like an homage to the Pacific Northwest. And so I kind of love it actually how it turned out. So that is, yeah, Bad Sheep Yarn Marley. And then my color work, my contrast color is Wild Woolly's Mycelium Bloom, which it's freaking gorgeous. Like I saw that and knew that I had to use this for the Sitka Spruce cowl, and like now want to use it for so many other things because this is just a gorgeous color. This turned out so well. I have done no changes to this, mostly because it's pretty standard. Like, okay, I feel like I've never been interested in cowls before, mostly because I always thought like this, like if this was the cowl, I thought it was just it. Of just like, oh, you knit something in a tube, you end it, and there you go. That's what it is. And with someone, like I said, I don't like things so close to my neck. I didn't like the idea of it. However, this pattern by Jamie Lomax, because we're doing it like double, we're knitting in the round, but we're doubling it. And basically what we're going to keep doing is like, as soon as I finish this color motif here with this pine needles, I'm going to do more of Marley for a couple more inches, and basically we're going to connect it on this side. And it's, yeah, an infinity scarf, but it's kind of loose, and it'll just kind of sit. So the color work, it keeps me entertained pretty well. I absolutely love it. But what the fun surprise was this like Latvian braid that's on both sides of just this Mycelium Bloom colorway. This was so fun to figure out. It's really easy actually, even though it like bugged the hell out of me because it does twist your yarn, and that's the point, is that it'll start twisting your yarn, and then as you continue on with the Latvian braid, it will untwist your yarn. So it was just, it's a fun little, like, it looks like just a little braid just sitting right on top of your work there, and it was really fun. So this one's been really fun. How many times can I say that? I am really debating on doing another one, in all honesty. Probably not like right after this one. Like once I'm done with this, I'll probably just enjoy it for a while. But the fact that I got 2 skeins of both of these colors, and yeah, I'll probably run out of Marley before I'm done with this. And I'll have to get into the second skein. But like, I'm tempted to get like a couple more skeins of Marley and just kind of like bust a couple of these out for like Christmas or something. I think that would be like, but at the same time, I kind of just want it for me. So that's my work in progress. I do have a couple acquisitions to tell y'all about. The first is I started getting yarn for a new project, but I'm not entirely sure what yet. Okay, so I do and I don't, so we'll see what happens. Like, let me show you. So from Wild Woollies, I also like, I love this mycelium blue. I absolutely do love it. And so like I'm debating on getting more of this mycelium bloom and making something else out of it. With, they have another color that's a solid color, and this color is so freaking beautiful. This fiddlehead fern by Wild Woolies. Oh my god. Like, holy crap. I absolutely love it. It's so, I'm just so attracted to green right now. I know that like green is supposedly the new millennial gray, and like screw you guys. Like, I'm not that predictable. But like, this is, I got 3 of them because I like the idea of doing a sweater in this color, of just like doing that. Ooh, thinking about it, like, could I do like a stripey? Would that be not, I don't know. So so my original idea when getting these, because I want more, because this is only 3, and I know you're supposed to buy them in batches, like for your project, so that the colorway is still the same. But these are $30 a skein, and I didn't want to pay that much all at the same time, because for a sweater of any caliber, this was like 8 going on 9 skeins. That's including the contrast color. And so like when doing the math for another sweater and how many yardage is in here, it's I need 9 skeins. So there is a pattern called the Pizza Pullover Adult by Pernille Larson. The example I actually don't like. It's this khaki color, but it does look really comfortable. And what they ended up using is that they ended up using a fingering weight and a lace weight to make a DK weight. And so my idea was like, okay, like that in this color, does that not sound amazing? And then, okay, this was my idea, and I'm second guessing it now, because I also got these knitting for olive mohair. And so it's a little off, but I think once I compare it, like once I add it to it, wouldn't be too bad. So this is like really soft lace weight mohair essentially. And this is, like I said, knitting for olive, and this is green woodpecker. I love it because it really looks like I just have like a thing of moss right now. But like that was my idea of just like, okay, pizza pullover. I actually hate the name. Just because it looks like little pizzas. I think it looks like, I mean, it's like doily, lace, I don't know. But like to add this, I like the idea. However, once this came in, it like, I loved it, and then it took me a day, and randomly I'm like, this looks like Grinch fur. I don't know how I feel about a Grinch a Grinch sweater, but I think it won't be as light as this. I think it'll still be this dark because this is really thin. It'll just give this a bit of a halo. I don't know. I'm still debating on it. Loving the fact that I have them anyway. So, and this is, what did I get this in? I got it in a fingering weight. So this is really, but I love this color, and I think that this will be a cool combination. Anyway, so that's like kind of like just something I have on the back burner. It's going to take a while because, like I said, I do want more of this color, and I'm going to, if I'm going to do what I'm going to do, I'm going to need more of this too. And I need another, like, it's going to be the same with this. I need like 9 skeins of these, and these were kind of spendy too. So I'm just going to slowly build up my collection for these, and we'll see what I end up doing with them. Though I kind of like the idea of like combining these two somehow and doing like a striped sweater. We'll see. I think that'll be like too close. I don't know. I kind of like it though. I don't know. We'll see. So that's like a long-term plan. Next acquisition, I have a bunch of this Haiku Madrona in DK. So I actually have like several skeins because I want to do a crochet project. Let's see if I can find it. So I don't have like a pattern yet. Actually, I think I do on YouTube because I looked it up. But basically, and I'll just insert it here. Basically, it's granny squares, but it's daisies and it's sunflowers. And so what I want to do is like a green granny square sweater, not sweater. It's gonna be a blanket with, and I'll switch these out. I'll do daisies with these as the petals and this as the center, and I want to do sunflowers with this as the petals and this as the center, and just kind of alternate them with like green in the border, and just have like a daisy sunflower blanket, like granny square blanket. It just kind of came to me. I like the idea of doing this because I like the idea of crocheting. I did crochet like a huge blanket last year, and I really enjoyed it. My one thing is like sewing in those ends, man. I did not have that motivation. But this one, like, these are super soft. What is this? This is baby alpaca, merino wool, bamboo viscose. So it's 30% baby alpaca, 30% merino wool, 20% bamboo viscose, and 20% nylon. And I think it is like, it's super soft, and it's like keeping a cool temp. But ultimately, like, it sounds like it's like supposed to be for a baby, but I want to make it for my dad's wife. In all honesty, I don't think she watches my videos. If not, Sarah, like, please stop. But I think it would be a fun Christmas present, in all honesty. Yes, I'm thinking of Christmas presents now because I know that, but if I don't, I won't think about it until like November, and it's not going to be enough time. So this is kind of what I've been thinking of since last November, in all actuality. But I want to do a crochet project, and I think after particularly doing the sweater and doing this cowl, mostly I just didn't know what else to do, and I'm still very much in the knitting mood. I know I've seen a lot of knitting podcasts actually where folks are like no longer in the mood to knit because it's getting warmer. And I mean, it's warm. I did have to convince myself to wear this today because I heard like it's actually really sunny here. While everyone else is dealing with snow, freaking California, of course, is sunny, particularly here up in the very northern bit of California, where we might as well be Oregon. Yeah, you would think that, like, because a lot of the times everyone's like, "Oh, you live in California, it must be really sunny," and like, no, we get whatever weather remnants are from Oregon and Washington. Most of the time it's gray. But lately it's been really sunny and really warm, like early spring warm. And someone said recently going, "Oh, California is in its fall spring moment." And I'm like, I don't know if that's accurate. I think this is spring now. Don't let the rodent determine our weather because we don't know if he actually wanted the job. So I think doing granny squares would be a nice little like quick thing to do that's not going to be like super hot. That's one thing that I'm kind of worried about right now with this mohair. Oh, that might be a fun, I have so many ideas. I just want to do stuff with that fiddlehead fern yarn. Oh, there's like, okay, I put like daisies in my Ravelry search, and there's one called the Mingling Daisy Shawl. That'd be cute too. Man, I just want to do everything in this fiddlehead fern. That would be super cute. Everything's gonna be fiddlehead fern. That is my color for this year. So yeah, those are my acquisitions. So that's it for this week's this month's episode. I don't know. I was worried about when I started making these is that how often I'd actually end up doing it, because I don't consider myself a fast knitter by any means. But it seems like once a month is okay. So I think I'm okay with this. So yeah. Let me know what you've been working on. Let me know if you have any ideas for this. Because like I want a sweater, but at the same time I kind of want something for like summer. And like I feel like this is one of the last times I can wear this sweater because it's getting warm. And so like what if I do something but I don't really want a shawl. Like I like the idea of like just doing everything in this color. Like I love it so much, but like I do want to wear it. So like there's this other one called Daisy by Alice Hammer, and it's a sweater, but it's like it has like lace in the sleeves, and so I don't think it'll be as warm. But that's also with worsted. I have to do it with fingering. Oh my goodness, the troubles I have. Okay, yeah, if you have any ideas for this, let me know. I'm thinking of something like, I think if I like looked into like some fingering weight, like lace shirts or something, I'd come up with something fun. I don't know what that means for these. Maybe at some point a sweater so I could still have fiddlehead during the fall and winter, but we'll see. So yeah, let me know what you've been working on. Let me know what you recently finished. Yeah, just let me know your thoughts. Otherwise, I will see you in another episode fairly soon, hopefully. Otherwise, I'll see you in another video soon. Let's go ahead and put, is there a fiddlehead emoji? Let's put any kind of green emoji, because that's I swear, that's what I'm obsessed with right now. So yeah, any kind of green emoji, any kind of thing. Otherwise, I'll see you in another video very soon. Ciao.